Brosplay!
Yeah.
Ooh.
Look at that city.
Ooh. Ooh.
Look at that city.
Welcome to Crackdown is better than Crackdown 2.
Yes, this is what it's all about. I like that they show you each of the agents and what they're going to look like eventually. So you got a black dude becomes a black dude. Asian dude gets old.
Oh, okay.
See, this guy just gets grizzled.
And more facial piercings.
A little bit. This is the guy we're going to play.
Okay.
Look at the guy in the background.
All right.
Look how insane he is.
And then the Marilyn Manson.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that guy's pretty cool, too.
Wow, okay.
But he already kind of has that sumo look.
Does he get tattoos for killing people? Is that how that works?
You level up based off agility. Mm-hmm. Agility is what affects your character's appearance. Strength is what affects your character's size.
Weird.
Yeah, well, in this second... Okay, there's the first thing that's better about this game than that game. Than the second game.
The loading screen?
No. In this game, your character's face changes as you gain agility levels, so you can kind of see them growing. But in Crackdown 2, the second you get your agility upgraded one time, you get a helmet. And you never get to see what your character looks like again.
I remember that.
So you pick, like, black, white, Asian, and you just can't tell.
Yep. It's all whitewashed. So I think the first thing he says in the cinematic is perfectly describes the second game. It's all gone to shit.
Pretty sure it's the same thing he says in the second game, because everything's always going to shit in Pacific City.
I fucking love when a reviewer will take something that a game says,
desperate measures,
and then use that as to mean like to represent their idea of how the game plays.
Look at that. It's dropping us right into this shit.
How does the second one start?
You have to go through a training. First of all, you start off stationary, and it's like, use your reticle to point at the 4 different locations.
Oh, that is...
And then you go through a training mission.
That, like, when I was a kid, that like, look up, down, left, and right thing, I was like, oh, this makes sense, it's calibrating the thing. And then I grew up, and I'm like, this is the most condescending garbage thing you can do to a person. Like, if you can't handle aiming, then this is not the game for you.
Yeah, seriously. Los Muertos, the first gang, and one of my favorite gangs. They just have so much personality to them. All their cars are different colors, and they always have, like, really sick music going on.
I just got very distracted by this really excellent voice acting.
Yeah, this guy's awesome.
I love it. I never got it when I was a kid. I never really, like a lot of people do that, I never really realized there's a person who does this.
Who has to do that.
This voice did not just happen. A person had to come up with it. And then they had to figure out a way to do it the same way every time.
Well, I was watching Aladdin, and there's like the big head thing. Mm-hmm. And I realized somebody has to be that, like, lion's voice.
Yep.
Like, that voice, they don't just make it in a computer the way that you imagine when you're a kid.
Yeah, and there's a lot of weird, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it, but there's certain people who do it more than others. This is too loud. The robotic voice, like a really cheap filter.
Oh, yeah.
I've recently been hearing a few people, like John Sean does it a lot.
Just a standard, like... Ooh. Yeah, that wasn't the best.
So we had some slight troubleshooting before we turned this game on, and we were actually concerned we weren't even going to get to play it at all. So every time the game freezes to tell us stuff, I think that we're just out of luck.
Yeah, that'll actually happen every time you move to, like, a different area. You see that little head on the mini-map that's flashing? Mm-hmm. That's a boss.
I would have said that was like an alien head.
Yeah, well, that's actually because the Los Muertos has, that's their symbol.
Right as I was talking about it, saw it perfectly symbolized on the door.
But you notice how they have yellow things over their heads, and the cops have blue, and then there's going to be another gang that has red things, and one that has silver things. So it all makes sense. But in the next game, there's just Cell. They're all red.
Oh, it's boring. Yeah.
And the cops are obviously blue.
And is the sidearm is fun too, isn't it?
I don't really use the sidearm much. I'm just using it right now because we have it. The basic mechanic of skills in this game is once you get 100 points, you get a star, and a star is like an actual level. So a star actually makes a difference. But in the other game, you just have this, like, really abstract little wheel that just moves towards your next star, but it doesn't give you any concept of how much more you need to get the star. You just have, like, this little bar.
Have you ever considered making a video about it?
I actually have, because I remember when I first played this, nothing I saw was worse. Like, everything is better in this game than it is in the second one.
Weird.
The second one is almost like... No, it's not almost like. It's a cash grab.
Do you think perhaps they just listened too much? Like, sometimes developers listen too much to the vocal minority. And that's where things like Call of Duty have... Like, I don't even know where to start with that game. Like, there was a point with Call of Duty where it was the same game every time. And now it is almost unrecognizable. It's like, I don't know which one I prefer them doing, keeping it too much the same or not enough like
Changing
it was.
everything, yeah.
Because now, like, you go Call of Duty, I think probably the first one that was really popular was 2, Call of Duty 2. So it was World War II. And now you've got Infinity Warfare, where you are flying on walls with jetpacks in space. It's like, how the fuck did we get here?
Yeah, I even remember when they came out with Advanced Warfare. I thought, okay, so now we're going a strange direction. I don't mind it. Oh, that's a grenade. That's not what I meant to do. How do I switch? Oh, that's how I punch people.
Yeah, I think a big...
Oh, square is switch weapon? Or X is switch
that's
weapon?
a weird switch weapon button.
Yeah. Takes some getting used to.
Oh, I love the level is so obviously designed for you. I love it. Like,
yeah, there's some areas, though, where the buildings are actually just not at all designed for a person to climb.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I love games that understand what they're making, or really any content, any sort of creative content where people recognize, okay, are we making a joke or are we making this serious? Is this supposed to be funny or is it supposed to be a commentary on life and stuff? And it's good that you recognize what you want from the beginning and you stick to it, because a lot of games will do this weird, like, halfway between two things where it's like, it's a silly, stupid game, but they have to constantly come up with realistic reasons for why these things are happening.
Oh, like they're trying to find justifications, but it's really not necessary?
Yeah, like they try to explain, like, why your character is super strong or something like that. Like, you don't have to. It's a video game. You can just put it in my face and I'll play it.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure we're just like a super soldier. Look at the streaks behind my hands.
Yeah.
That means I'm actually cutting the air fast enough that you can see it.
I wish it made a sound. Whoosh, whoosh.
It does kind of make a whoosh whoosh when you run around.
Fucking tear me down. That's fine.
Little whoosh whoosh.
No, that's good.
Well, we just can't hear anything. Because not only do we have, like, us and all the death and destruction going on. I actually...
What? You the way that your the inflection of your sentence implied there was more to that.
Oh, well, that was 2 things. So I figured that was enough. I was just going to say that I spend a lot of the time that I'm playing any Crackdown game, one of the 2 Crackdown games, looking for agility orbs.
Yeah.
For a very obvious reason. Like, the more agility you have, the more fun you can just kind of have in the cityscape.
Yes, I have noticed that.
And the less frustration there is with, like, these little stupid hops.
That is something that I really loved about this game. That guy in the background just going, "Wah!"
Yeah, just screaming his guts out.
But man, there's something I really noticed that I really don't like, and a lot of people do it. When they're listing off statements about something, the inflection that a lot of people do, and fucking everyone does it, including myself, where he's saying, like, and then you do this, and then you do that, and then of course you do this, and it's like a lot of people do it. I'm not quite doing it the way that a lot of people do it, but it's one of those things where I can predict the way that the inflection on their statement is going to go by how, like, what they're about to say. I just heard Joe do it, and I was like, ugh.
Well, sometimes it actually just makes you want to go, like, get to the point.
Well, that's something I just realized right now. I think it's because I like Joe so much that I notice these annoying things when he does them because I expect it to not happen. Like, if I heard like the Kardashians speak like that, I would just be like, okay.
Of course, that's
still
how they
stop
speak.
talking, but I'm not going to tell you anything objective.
Yeah. I'm not going to help you improve, but you should stop.
That's something I tell people all the time, especially at work. If I tell you that you're doing something wrong, it's because I like you enough that I want you to change. And I'll point out an example. I'll be like that person right there, I don't tell them to do shit because they're a lost cause.
Yeah, just useless.
There's nothing going to change in that person's life, and I'm okay with that. And if I ever tell you, hey, pick up the slack here, bro. I mean, I don't talk to people like that, but
Not a bro kind of dude?
I mean, I call you bro, but you're my brother.
My actual
And I call
bro.
people bruh as a joke, but it turned into a real thing, and I don't know how I feel about it anymore.
I used to say it as a joke. Now it's taken over.
And there's something else I was just thinking about that I used to say. I love how you can kick the door and it hits the dude. That is so much fun.
Yeah.
And,
well, at one point, I'll be able to kill people in one shot.
Yeah.
So you'll just see me running around and just blasting people into the next dimension.
I like how there's already progression. That's a fun feeling when you're able to already appreciate what's happening before you even get in, or before you like really spend a lot of time. Like a lot of games.
Well, I haven't even killed the boss yet.
It's kind of like I guess that's kind of a game design fundamental. Like, a game with levels, you usually level very quickly. You're right there.
Yeah, you always level like much quicker at the start too. But one thing that's actually cool about this game, so if I kick him and then I gun him down, see how I get yellow and blue orbs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Oh, that turned bad really quickly.
The cleanse.
So that's actually another cool part about this, is that you lose all of the progression you had, like, along the bar, but you don't lose your numbers. So you see, I'm still at 70 strength, I just have nothing in the bar.
What about the agility?
Same with everything.
But there's a point in agility.
Yeah, so I keep the stars and I keep the actual numbers that are there.
Oh.
I just lose like the progression towards the next set of numbers.
But there's like a tiny bar there. There's like a tiny
Oh,
part.
actually, you're right. Agility might be the only one that's an exception. I guess because it's not a combat stat. Because even driving is technically a combat stat.
Combat stat.
Well, I spend most of my time when I get driving skill just running people down. Because you actually get so much for killing an enemy. It's probably one of the most profitable ways.
The zombie thing was a really weird addition as well to that game, to the second game, because it's counter to the idea. Like, zombies are about survival, and this is not a survival game. This is a fuck around, do stupid shit game. I think I probably liked the zombies when I was young, but now I'm thinking about it. I think this game is supposed to be like GTA style on steroids, not survival. I never really liked not auto aim, but I don't like that lock-on style
aim
for shooting. I think it's fantastic in a fighting game, but I always free aim.
It actually works a lot in this game just because of like it's impossible to shoot people like this.
Yeah.
Because of how inaccurate your gun becomes.
That was my issue. Is like I tried to free aim. That's why I like the pistol so much. Is that it has a low rate of fire.
It just needs more damage, but there's actually some snipers that just kill people one shot, so those are pretty effective for that.
I do like one shots.
How do I reload? Okay, LB is reload. Yeah, this game's not particularly good for that, but I do like circle being melee attack.
Well, something that was interesting about Sultan Sanctuary is that they took different control options, and I actually feel like they improved a few of them. I personally feel like left trigger is a much better shield button. It's a lot easier to hold, and that's the kind of thing you're going to want to hold. While as LB is block in Dark Souls, and not left trigger.
That's got to be strange.
It is, and left trigger is used to parry, while as
so you have to choose, because you can only push one at a time.
Actually, you can totally cheese the game out and hold. I mean, they probably knew you could do this because it's so easy. You can hold the block button, and then hit the parry button, and for some reason in the first game there's like this weird delay on your moves. We were talking too much about another game. We do that a lot, eh? We end up talking about other games while we're playing one game.
Well, because it's not really just the science of Crackdown we're interested in. It's the science of making a good game. Because this is a fucking good game.
And it's something I never knew. I never really appreciated until Sequelitis. That's like the whole my whole philosophy on game design would never have existed if I wasn't introduced to the idea that game design is a philosophy.
And that there is a good way, a best way to do things, like a fundamentally good way to make a game.
Yeah, objectively, there's a lot of decisions that I can... Oh, I love this
meaty bastard.
Fucking meaty character.
Thank you for joining
Oh,
us.
shit. Holy shit. I forgot we had a limit on this.
In this special first episode.
Whew.